The galaxy had many stories, but few were whispered with as much fear as the tale of the drifting supercarrier. It was not a normal ship. It was not even a weapon that could be compared to anything known. It was something greater, something older, something so powerful that even the most advanced empires refused to touch it. They called it the Ghost Ship. Some believed it was cursed. Some said it had destroyed its own masters. Others said it was waiting for the next race foolish enough to claim it. For centuries it drifted in silence between stars, its black hull glowing faintly against the endless night. The alien fleets that passed nearby always kept their distance. They would rather waste time flying around it than risk being pulled into its shadow. Explorers who dared to go close never returned. And so the ghost ship remained alone, a grave in the dark, until humans found it. It was a small human exploration fleet, nothing compared to the mighty armadas of other species. Their ships were not the fastest, nor the strongest, nor the most feared. But humans were different. They were curious, reckless, and brave in ways the galaxy had never understood. Where others saw danger, they saw opportunity. Where others felt fear, they felt challenge. When the human scanners detected the massive structure drifting in space, they did not turn away. They set a course straight for it. At first, the crew thought their systems were lying. The size of the ship was beyond imagination. It was larger than any city on Earth. It stretched for miles, a floating continent of metal and shadow. The scanners struggled to measure its full length. Its towers rose like mountains. Its decks were wide enough to hold forests. Its guns looked like spears aimed at the stars themselves. And yet it was silent. No engines, no crew, no life signs, only the cold whisper of power that lingered deep inside. The captain of the human fleet, a man named Elias Grant, stood on the bridge of his ship and stared at the ghostly figure on the screen. His officers were uneasy. Some begged him to turn back. They reminded him of the old warnings, the stories told by aliens about explorers who entered and never returned. But Elias did not believe in ghost stories. He believed in courage. He believed in chance. And in his heart he felt that this was not a curse. This was destiny. The humans launched a boarding team. Their shuttle floated across the void, small as a grain of dust compared to the supercarrier's endless hull. As they neared, they saw writing etched into the dark metal. Alien symbols older than any language in the known galaxy. They glowed faintly, as if still alive, as if the ship itself was aware of their presence. The humans docked at one of the many airlocks. The doors opened with a groan, like a giant breathing for the first time in ages. Inside, the halls stretched far and endless. The walls were smooth, metallic, yet alive with faint lights. Dust floated, but it was not the dust of decay. It was the dust of machines, still active, still waiting. The humans' boots echoed as they walked. Every sound felt too loud. Every shadow seemed to move. It was as if the ship itself was watching. One of the soldiers whispered that he felt something move in the dark. Another swore that he heard whispers not from his comms, but inside his head. Elias told them to stay calm. They had to go forward. Retreat now would mean nothing. Discovery lay ahead. As they moved deeper, the ship responded. Lights flickered on row by row, leading them forward like a path. Doors opened without being touched. Control panels lit up, glowing in strange alien runes. The humans were intruders, yet the ship was guiding them, inviting them. It was as if it had been waiting for someone to return, waiting for someone who was not afraid. Back outside, alien fleets had already gathered at a distance. Word had spread across the stars that humans had entered the ghost ship. Dozens of species watched, holding their breath. Some expected to see the human shuttle destroyed in an instant, crushed like all the others before. Some expected nothing at all, only silence. But what they saw instead made the galaxy tremble. The ship moved. At first it was only a hum, a low vibration that shook through the void. Then deep inside, the engines roared. Light burst from the massive thrusters. The supercarrier was no longer drifting. It was alive again. For the first time in centuries, the ghost ship had awakened. And humans were inside. On the bridge of his shuttle, Elias felt the deck shake under his feet. The control panels lit up with energy. His officers stared in shock. The ship was responding to them. It was not pushing them out. It was not rejecting them. It was listening. For the galaxy, it was a moment of disbelief. For humans, it was the beginning of something no one had imagined. They had found the ship that no one could claim, and it was waking for them. The whispers grew louder in the halls, as if the ship was speaking in a voice humans could almost understand. It was not just a machine. It was not just a weapon. It was something greater, something alive. And it had chosen humanity to enter first. The ghost ship was no longer a legend. It was real, and it had found its new masters. The first claimed the ghost ship was no longer silent. Its ancient thrusters hummed like a heart waking from a long sleep. Light filled its endless corridors, reaching deep into the dark. The human boarding team stood in awe as the alien runes on the walls shifted and twisted, changing shape until they became words in English. It was as if the ship had decided to speak directly to them. Captain Elias Grant felt a chill run through his body. He had expected danger, maybe traps, maybe death. He had not expected this. The ship was not rejecting them. It was guiding them. The thought grew heavy in his mind. Perhaps this was not an accident. Perhaps the ship had been waiting for them. His team moved deeper. Their footsteps echoed through the long metallic corridors. The ship kept opening doors for them, lights flickering on ahead like a path laid down only for humans. No one spoke much. Their voices felt too small inside this place. Every soldier, every officer, every explorer felt the same thing. They were trespassers in something alive. Finally, they reached the command chamber. It was a colossal room, wider than a stadium, with walls of crystal and metal glowing with streams of data. A vast circular platform stood at the center, surrounded by tall black pillars humming with power. At the far end, a command throne rose, built for a being taller than any human. Above them, a wide window revealed the stars beyond. Alien fleets hovered in the distance, their ships tense, their weapons charged, waiting to see what would happen next. The humans spread out, inspecting the room. Some touched the panels, but they could not understand the symbols. Others whispered that this place felt wrong, like they should not be here. But Elias walked straight to the command throne. The moment he placed his hand on its surface, the entire chamber came alive. Light poured through the pillars. The floor trembled. Panels lit up in English, replacing the alien language. Systems across the ship roared awake. Engines flared, weapons armed, shields formed. The ghost ship had accepted its first captain in centuries, and he was human. Outside, the galaxy gasped. Dozens of alien fleets watched their monitors. They had seen countless species try to control the ghost ship. All had failed. Some had been destroyed in seconds. Some had vanished forever. And yet the humans were standing there alive, commanding it. The impossible had happened. Alarms filled the alien ships. Messages spread across the stars. Council leaders demanded answers. How could this be? How could the youngest race in the galaxy, the weakest in the eyes of others, take the most feared ship in existence? Inside, Elias felt the weight of it. The ship was not only alive, it was aware. It was not just metal and circuits. It was something greater. He could feel its thoughts pressing into his mind, quiet but strong. It was not speaking in words, but in feelings, in visions. He saw flashes of battles long ago, fleets burning, planets shaking. He saw the last masters of the ship falling into silence. He saw centuries of loneliness as the ship drifted, waiting. And then he saw something stranger. The ship showing him humans. Images of Earth, of humanity rising from stone tools to rockets, of them stepping into the stars. Somehow the ship knew them. Somehow it had been waiting for them, one of the officers shouted from a side panel. Captain, the ship is responding to us. It is rewriting everything into our systems. It is mapping our language, our codes, our signals. It is accepting us. Elias turned toward his team. Their faces were pale, some filled with fear, some with awe. He knew this was no ordinary discovery. This was a claim. Humanity had not just found the ghost ship, humanity had claimed it. But claiming it came with a price. Outside, alien fleets began to move closer. Their leaders could not allow this. The humans had done what no one else could, and that made them dangerous. Ships began to form lines, weapons powered, ready to strike. Messages of warning filled the comms. Surrender the ghost ship or face destruction. On the bridge, Elias heard the voices of his officers. Some begged him to retreat, to escape before the fleets opened fire. Others whispered that this was humanity's only chance, that they could not back down. Elias looked out at the galaxy beyond the great window. He saw the alien fleets forming walls of firepower. He saw their fear. He saw their anger. And he realized something. This was not about discovery anymore. This was about survival. Humanity could not walk away. If they gave up the ghost ship now, they would never be safe again. Every empire would hunt them, punish them, remind them that they had dared to touch something sacred. But if they kept it, if they truly held it, then the galaxy would have no choice but to see humans differently. Not as weak, not as new, but as something greater. His hand tightened on the command throne. The ship's systems pulsed with energy, as if it felt his decision. Across the hull, lights burned brighter. The weapons shifted into position. For the first time, the ghost ship had a captain, and for the first time, the galaxy would see what humans could do with it. The awakening, the ghost ship, was no longer just a legend. It was alive, and it had chosen humanity. Inside the command chamber, the floor shook as energy spread through the walls. Blue light surged like rivers of fire across the crystal panels. The human team shielded their eyes, but Captain Elias Grant did not move. His hand remained on the command throne, and the ship answered him with power. Every system lit up. Engines thundered. Shields formed. Weapons shifted into place. The ship was not resisting, it was obeying. Across the galaxy, the news spread like lightning. Every alien fleet, every empire, every world tuned in. Screens across star systems showed the impossible. Humans standing inside the ghost ship while it roared awake. The sight was more than shocking. It was terrifying. The galaxy had always thought of humans as weak. They were newcomers only recently stepping into space. They were not the oldest, nor the strongest, nor the most advanced. They were a small voice among giants. And yet, in a single moment, they had taken control of something greater than all fleets combined. The alien ships surrounding the ghost ship moved closer. Their captain shouted over comms, demanding surrender. "Leave the vessel! Retreat! You do not know what you are dealing with." Their warnings carried fear, but also anger. They could not allow humans to keep it. If humanity claimed the ghost ship, balance across the stars would break. But Elias did not retreat. The voice of the ship filled his mind again, not in words, but in visions. He saw fragments of its past, thousands of battles, entire civilizations falling. He saw its last masters, a powerful empire now gone, burning under their own creation. He felt the loneliness of the ship drifting for centuries, waiting for someone who would not run. Then the visions changed. He saw Earth. He saw humans standing against impossible odds, fighting wars, surviving disasters, climbing mountains, crossing oceans. He saw defiance in their history. He saw survival. And he felt the ship's approval. This ship had not just awakened, it had chosen. One of the officers, Lieutenant Hale, stared at a control panel that had rewritten itself into English. "Captain, this ship understands us. It is adapting to us. It is rewriting everything to match our systems." The team was stunned. No other race had gotten this far. Every other attempt had ended in silence or destruction. But for humans, the ship was bending. It was reshaping itself. It was almost welcoming. Suddenly, the chamber shook harder. Outside, alien fleets had opened fire. Bright energy blasts rained against the ghost ship's hull. The galaxy was watching humanity's first test. Everyone expected the ship to destroy the humans inside. Everyone expected it to turn on them like it had with others. Instead, the ghost ship raised its shields on its own. The blasts vanished in sparks. The humans barely felt the impact. The ship was protecting them. Elias stared out the massive window at the fleet surrounding them. Dozens of ships from different empires had arrived, each one ready to strike. He knew what they wanted. They wanted humanity to surrender. They wanted humanity to crawl away in fear. But Elias also knew something else. If they gave up now, they would never be free again. Every empire would see humans as a threat to be crushed. They would hunt Earth, break it, enslave it. But if humans held their ground, if they showed strength, then the galaxy would remember this day forever. The ghost ship hummed beneath his hand, waiting. Its weapons were armed. Its energy pulsed like a heartbeat. It was asking for his command. "Captain," Hale whispered, "what are your orders?" Elias did not hesitate. "We do not run." "Not today," the ship responded instantly. Giant cannons along its sides turned. Energy built within them, brighter and brighter, until the darkness of space was lit like a second sun. Alien ships scrambled in panic, shouting over comms, but it was too late. A single blast fired. It did not just strike an enemy fleet, it erased it. Dozens of ships vanished in a flash, nothing left but drifting wreckage. Silence fell across the galaxy. The impossible had just happened. The ghost ship had fired under human command. For a long moment, no one moved. The surviving fleets froze, unwilling to test the ship again. Every empire that had once looked down on humanity was now staring in disbelief. The humans had not only entered the ghost ship, they had awakened it, commanded it, and unleashed its power. Inside the chamber, the humans stood in shock. Some were terrified of what they had just unleashed. Others were filled with awe. Elias only felt resolve. He knew this was bigger than him, bigger than his crew. This was the future of his entire species. The whispers in his mind grew stronger. The ship was still speaking, still showing him visions. He saw a path of stars stretching farther than any map had ever shown. He saw battles yet to come. He saw empires falling. But he also saw something greater. Humanity rising, leading, reshaping the galaxy itself. The ghost ship was more than a weapon. It was a key to something far beyond war. Elias stood tall on the command throne. "This ship is ours now," he said firmly, "and the galaxy will have to live with it." The ship's systems pulsed once more as if agreeing, and in that moment, the universe changed forever. The test of fire. The galaxy could not stay silent after what it had seen. Humans had done the impossible. They had awakened the ghost ship, commanded it, and destroyed a fleet in a single strike. The balance of power across the stars was broken in an instant. On alien homeworlds, leaders gathered in emergency councils. Some shouted that humanity must be destroyed before it grew stronger. Others whispered that the ghost ship had chosen them for a reason, and that to challenge it would be suicide. Fear spread across the galaxy faster than light. The youngest species had just become the most dangerous. But fear does not stop empires. Fear drives them, and so fleets began to gather. Hundreds of ships, thousands of weapons, all pointed toward one place. The drifting ghost ship now under human command. Inside the massive vessel, Captain Elias Grant felt the pressure building. His officers delivered reports from the ship's sensors. More and more alien fleets were arriving. Every hour brought more signals, more armies, more firepower. They were not just watching now. They were preparing to strike. Elias stood before the great window of the command chamber, staring at the endless stars beyond. He knew this day would come. The galaxy would never let humanity hold this ship in peace. They would test them, break them if they could. Humanity's survival now rested on one question. Could they endure the test of fire? The ghost ship pulsed beneath his hand, alive, aware, waiting. Its weapons hummed with energy. Its shields glowed faintly, its engines whispered like a beast ready to leap. Elias knew the ship was not afraid. It had seen countless battles before. But he also knew this fight was different. This time it was not an empire controlling it. It was humanity. "Captain," Lieutenant Hale said, his voice low but steady, "we cannot win against so many fleets. Even with this ship's weapons, their numbers are too great." Elias turned to him. "We do not need to win. We only need to survive. If we survive this, humanity will never be seen the same again." The officers nodded, though fear was clear in their eyes. None of them had ever stood against the united anger of the galaxy. Yet now they had no choice. The first wave came suddenly. A formation of alien cruisers rushed forward, weapons blazing. Bright streams of energy tore through the void, striking the ghost ship's shields. The ship trembled, but it did not break. Sparks lit the command chamber. Alarms screamed, but the shields held strong. Elias raised his hand. The ship responded instantly. Cannons along its hull rotated, locked, and fired. Blinding light burst into space. The alien cruisers were gone in an instant, erased from existence. But the battle did not end. More fleets moved in, surrounding the ship from every angle. They fired together, thousands of blasts raining down like a storm. The shields flared, bending under the pressure. The crew braced as the deck shook violently. For a moment it felt like the ship might finally crack. Then the ghost ship roared. It unleashed a wave of energy unlike anything seen before. Not a blast, but a pulse that spread across space like a tide. Alien weapons flickered and died. Engines failed. Entire fleets went dark. Their systems crushed under the weight of power they could not resist. The humans stared in disbelief. The ship had not just defended them, it had disarmed an entire armada with one strike. The galaxy watching from afar went silent. The test was only beginning, and already the humans were holding their ground. But Elias felt something deeper. The ship's whispers filled his mind again, stronger than ever. It was not only fighting. It was teaching. Each time it acted, he understood more of its systems, more of its design. It was almost as if the ship was showing humanity how to wield its power step by step. Yet there was danger too. Each time the ship connected with his mind, Elias felt his strength drain. His thoughts blurred at the edges. The ship was alive, yes, but it was also vast, heavy, endless. A human mind was small compared to it. How long could he carry its weight before it broke him? He pushed the thought away. This was not the time for weakness. Outside, the battle raged on. More fleets pressed in. Some tried desperate tactics, ramming their ships against the ghost ship's shields. Others attempted to overload their reactors to cause chain explosions. The space around them burned with wreckage and fire, but through it all the ghost ship endured. And slowly the galaxy began to realize the truth. This was no ordinary warship. This was no relic of the past. This was something far beyond a machine. The ghost ship was alive, aware, and now, humanity's ally. On distant worlds, alien leaders began to fear not just the ship, but the humans commanding it. If this young race could master such power, what else were they capable of? What future awaited the galaxy under their rise? Back in the command chamber, Elias felt the ship grow quieter, as if it was resting after the storm. The battle around them faded. The remaining fleets pulled back, unwilling to lose more ships. For now, humanity had survived the test of fire. The crew stood in silence, exhausted but alive. Some wept. Some laughed nervously. Some only stared out the window at the wreckage floating in space. They had seen death, but they had also seen victory. Elias remained on the command throne, his hand still on the controls. The whispers in his mind had not stopped. The ship was still speaking to him, still showing him visions. He saw a path stretching farther into unknown space, past the borders of every empire, a path to something greater than war. The ghost ship had given humanity more than survival. It had given them a future, and Elias knew the galaxy would never forgive them for it. The day the stars changed, the battle was over, but silence was heavier than war. Across the stars, alien fleets floated broken and powerless, their systems shut down by the ghost ship's impossible pulse. Wreckage drifted in endless night, glowing faintly as flames flickered out. Those who had survived pulled back, their ships limping into the dark. No one dared to move closer. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy had failed to crush a young race. Humanity had survived, and more than that, they had triumphed. Inside the command chamber, Captain Elias Grant stood still, his hand still resting on the command throne. His crew whispered among themselves, voices trembling with both fear and awe. None of them had thought they would live through the battle, yet here they stood alive inside the most powerful vessel in the universe. The ghost ship was silent now, its cannons cooling, its shields humming softly. But Elias could feel it. It was not asleep. It was waiting. The ship's presence still pressed into his thoughts, vast and deep, filled with secrets he could not yet understand. He felt as if he were standing on the edge of something far larger than himself, far larger than humanity itself. Lieutenant Hale broke the silence. "Captain, we have done the impossible. The whole galaxy saw it. They will never see us as the same again." Elias turned his gaze toward the window. Beyond the glass, stars stretched like rivers of fire. He thought of Earth, of the people still living without knowledge of what had just happened. Farmers tending fields, children playing in cities, workers building ships in orbit. They had no idea that in a single moment their place in the galaxy had changed forever. "They will fear us now," Elias said quietly. "Some will hate us. Some will try again to destroy us. But they cannot deny us anymore." The officers exchanged glances. They knew he was right. Humanity was no longer the young race no one respected. They were no longer just another voice at the council's table. They had taken the ghost ship, and with it the stars themselves had shifted. But Elias also knew power was not the same as safety. With power came eyes watching from every corner of space. With power came danger. Humanity had been given a gift, or perhaps a burden, that no other race had ever controlled for long. The whispers in his mind deepened, pulling him into visions again. He saw the past, empires that had tried to wield the ship and failed. He saw their arrogance, their downfall, their destruction. The ghost ship had never accepted them. They had tried to command it, but they had not listened. They had treated it as a tool, a weapon, a thing to use, and the ship had broken them for it. But with humanity, something was different. It was not resisting. It was guiding, almost as if it saw something in humans that it had not seen in others. A defiance, a hunger, a will to survive at any cost. The vision shifted again. Elias saw the future. Roads of light stretching through unexplored space, colonies rising, fleets gathering under human banners. But he also saw shadows, wars, betrayals, battles that would test not only humanity's strength but its very soul. The ship was not a gift without price. It was a promise of trials yet to come. When the vision faded, Elias felt weak, but he stood tall. He knew now what this day meant. This was not just a victory. This was the beginning of a new age. He turned back to his crew. Their faces were marked with exhaustion, but also with fire. They had faced the galaxy and survived. They had seen what no other humans had seen. And they knew the truth. This ship had chosen them, and through them it had chosen humanity. "We will not hide," Elias said firmly. His voice echoed through the chamber. "The galaxy will come for us again. They will test us again. But today belongs to us. Today, humanity steps into the stars not as followers, not as prey, but as equals, and more than equals. We have shown them what we are. And we will not turn back." The ghost ship pulsed once, as if agreeing. Its lights glowed brighter, casting long shadows across the chamber. It felt alive, proud, ready. Beyond the window, alien fleets drifted at a distance, unwilling to approach but unwilling to leave. They had seen the truth. They had seen humanity rise, and they would never forget this day. On distant worlds, history was already being rewritten. Records marked the moment. Voices carried it across networks. Children would grow up hearing the story of the day humans captured the ghost ship. Leaders would plan around it. Empires would tremble because of it, and the stars themselves would never feel the same again. For centuries, the ship had been called the ghost ship, a relic of death, a curse in the dark. But now, under human hands, it had a new name whispered across the stars. It was no longer a ghost. It was a beginning, and the day humanity captured it was the day the stars changed forever.